Today we're taking a look at Yume Ulllltraa, the newest addition to the Yume family. Of course, we all know the original Yume, Yume Midnight, Yume 2, and now Yume Ulllltraa. How does the new one fare against the old and the other competition around $200 to $300? In this video, we'll find out. Let's jump into it. Hey friends, Timmy, welcome back to another video on Giz Audio. Today we have Yume Ulllltraa by C Audio X Angel Ears. Yes, if you guys do not know Angel Ears, they're an audio store that does some collaboration from time to time, like the Timeless AE and Bravery AE. And now they came out with the Yume Ulllltraa. I don't know why they didn't stick to the original naming scheme of calling it AE. This could have been Yume AE, you know, but you know, Ulllltraa is fine. Now, before we get into all the comparisons, let's jump into the tuning of the Ulllltraa first. Starting with the bass profile of the Ulllltraa is very similar to the bass profile of the original Yume, being that it is a sub-bass focused set, so not a lot of slam, not a lot of fun, thumpy bass to be found here. A lot of you who are in the bass head camp already should look away from this IEM because the bass there is just not gonna be as satisfying. Now, the good thing about this kind of bass is that it allows for a very clean mid-range, and that's kind of what the original Yume was going for. It's a very clean, natural sounding mid-range, and the Ulllltraa has that as well. Female vocals, male vocals, instruments that lives in the mid-range are not muddied up. It's not warm, it's not heavy in any way. It's just very clean and spacious sounding. Now, you do still get some rumble in the sub bass, but don't expect it to be the star of the show. It's just kind of there. Let's just say the bass is not satisfying for those of you who are seeking satisfying bass. But the good thing is, again, it is very clean. Speaking of the mid-range, again, the lower mids is very clean. The upper mids is quite energetic. Not shouty, that's not the right term here. Around the gain area, the 1K to 3K is actually very well done. It's naturally boosted, it's not shouty, but where it is energetic and where it is a little bit too intense for me is in the lower treble region, or the presence region, if you will, around 4K to 6K hertz. You can see a peak there that is in this IEM very audible. Now, the 5K peak comes across a couple of ways. One way is intensity, like vocals sound very energetic and a little bit too intense, a little bit fatiguing, if you will. Or number two, it comes across as a boost in clarity. Some people would say that vocalists or mid-range here sound very crispy, clean, and detailed. So two ways this can come out. If you are sensitive to this area of the treble and you already know who you are, then it's gonna come across as too intense for you, too emphasized. But if you're not sensitive to this region, then it could come across as more detailed, more clarity to your ears. Moving on to treble, the Ulllltraa has quite a lot of treble. Now, when you compare the graph between Ulllltraa and Yume 2, you might find that the graph looks kind of similar in treble level, but since the Ulllltraa has far less mid-bass than on the Yume 2, the treble details here, or the treble presence, is actually more pronounced on the Ulllltraa than on the Yume 2, when A being between the two. Treble instruments and details that lives here are quite well pronounced, but not to the point of fatigue or sibilance in any way. Smooth is not really a term I would use here. It's not really the smoothest treble, but it is a revealing treble. On to technical performance. Let's bring up my scale right here. I would put the Yume Ulllltraa above the Aria, the exact same place I put the Yume 2 and the Midnight. Because when I was A-Bing all these three IEMs, I didn't find that one was more resolving than each other. The biggest hindrance to the Ulllltraa's detailed performance is the air region. It doesn't have a lot of representation in the minute little sparkles you get in each song. You get a lot of those crispy treble hits, like the initial hits of the treble, the initial hits of the hi-hats, but the sparkle and the little details that comes after that, the Ulllltraa could do better. Next, let's move on to comparisons. Let's first compare the Ulllltraa to the other Yumes. Versus the original Yume, the Ulllltraa has more details, better treble, and also more energetic timbre. The original definitely has more natural sounding timbre to me, but if you want extra clarity and details, the Ulllltraa has that. Now on to the Midnight. Now these two are very different IEMs. They're tilted completely differently. The Midnight is a little bit of a bassier slash slightly bit warmer version of the original Yume with also better treble extension, while the Ulllltraa is very much a bright, tilted, intense, and treble focused IEM. With the Ulllltraa, I like the added treble presence, like treble details are more well pronounced, and the clean nature of the lower mid-range that I like. But on the Midnight, I do love how natural the timbre comes across. So between the two, I really can't decide which one I like better. Both have some good qualities, but at the end, I would say they are about the same level. On to Yume 2. Now, Yume 2 out of all the Yumes is my favorite current one, and that's because it sounds very balanced with a little bit of a tilt towards the treble area. The treble on the Yume 2 is great. It's smooth, it's revealing. It can be a little bit too intense for some of you guys out there, but in all accounts, it is a smooth and revealing sounding treble. The mid bass is also present there, so any song that has fun bass, the Yume 2 has that covered. And when it comes to timbre, the Yume 2 is very good as well. So as a package, Yume 2 can do pretty much anything. It's a very versatile IEM. Versus the Ulllltraa. The Ulllltraa sounds more intense. It's less versatile than the Yume 2 due to the lack of bass there. It already cuts out the bass lover. And the treble, again, in the lower treble can be a little bit too intense. Vocals and mid-range do come across with more clarity on the Ulllltraa and also treble instruments as well. But definitely less natural sounding than the two. So between these two IEMs, my clear favorite is still the Yume 2. And last but not least, comparison with the #1 recommended $200 to $300 IEM in my own personal opinion right now, the Apple Performer 5. Now this IEM is incredible. I would say Performer 5, to quickly describe it to you guys, is more of a refinement of the Yume 2. So imagine if Yume 2 gets a rating of 8 out of 10, for example. The Performer 5 would be like an 8.5 or an 8.75. It's a refined Yume 2. So since I prefer Yume 2 over the Ulllltraa, I also prefer Performer 5 over the Ulllltraa, and that is because the timbre that comes across in Performer 5 plus the smooth treble and the more balanced out kind of signature just sounds better to me. At the end of the day, the Ulllltraa is a niche IEM. For those of you who maybe like the Harman style of ear gain, you like vocals, you love mid-range, you want it to be as clean as possible, but you want more clarity, you want even more energy added on top of what Harman style IEM already gives you, then the Ulllltraa is right there as your pick of choice. And with all of that being said, my final verdict for Yume Ulllltraa is a yellow. Yes, it is not better than the Midnight or the Yume 2. It costs a little bit more as well. And there are other IEMs that I think are better around the same price range. So it's not really top 5 in competition, but it's not a bad IEM either. It serves a niche community, which I can see some of you guys enjoying, but I can't really outright recommend it over some IEMs out there. Like I said, again, Yume 2 Performer 5 comes to mind. Even Sennheiser IE200 comes to mind as well as a nice competition to this one. But yes, that concludes the review of Yume Ulllltraa. If the sound description fits what you're looking for, go ahead and check it out. If you're looking for the best IEM around this price range, you can check out my review of the Yume 2 or Performer 5. And with all that being said, thank you so much for watching this video all the way to the end. I would like to thank my Patreon subscriber now. For the $9 people, we have Bard, Chadwick, Kay, Norm, Robert, Suni Roll. And for $18 people, we have Dr. P, Go to 10, Kirk, Mason, Sar, and the newest person, Christian. Thank you so much for supporting the channel. If you guys want to support the channel yourself, link to Patreon is down below. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace out. Bye.